Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to talk about this new setting that we've got in the bot logic. It's not like a definite we'll go with this for sure, because what you'll see on the backtest results, we had some huge drawdown and it would have been very uncomfortable, and it's not that great to be fair, because we would have started at 3k and we would have come down to 2,500. So there's been a big cut of, and it would have been a bit of a confidence shaker as well. And we would have we definitely hit the 10% loss to account, which is not great to be honest with you. And then we had some horrible drawdown here, but it did tick up, and we resulted in a 75% return on our starting balance. So what my intention is going to be is we're going to reduce this horrible drawdown, and then we're going to try and remain profitable, but we can't have this. So my idea, the reason for this video is to simply reduce that risk by, at the moment, reducing the stop loss. But I don't think the stop loss is the problem, it's the concurrent trades. Because before on the old bot, when I say the old bot, it's the scalper bot, but the video that I made recently, I only had one concurrent trade, which makes sense because it's never going to be destructive. It's never going to completely annihilate your account. But with 7 concurrent trades, you've basically effectively you've 7 times, your risk has accelerated by 7 times, where, conversely, you've also increased your profit potential by 7 times. So this is safe, but it does result in results in an okay return. It's 14%, it's fine. However, with the 7 concurrent trades, we've really pumped in the return. So my idea is that what we need to do is we come back here, we need to reduce this, because we can't have a starting balance of 3,000 and then come down to 2,500. It's no good. Although we know in backtesting it would have been profitable, at that time that would have been horrible. It would have been bad for confidence and morale. And, live trades, no one wants that drawdown. And really, it's not that professional, because we should be looking at things from a risk percentage terms. So if your account is down 5%, that's really bad. Well, that's pretty bad. But if it's down 10%, that's like really not good at all. And it would have fallen 10% from your starting balance. Yeah, $300 is 10%. So we've fallen more than $300. Yeah, we've fallen more than 10% since our starting balance at that point. So it would have been not great, and it's not a great indication that this is going to be a fantastic bot as it is, because we're still doing lots of testing. I think what we need to do is reduce the amount of concurrent trades, so we have reduced that risk. However, that being said, we've made a humongous return, like a crazy return. We start at 3k. The balance is 5273, which is bonkers. So the reason for this video is for me just to demonstrate what it looks like as it unfolds, and we're going to test the trailing stop, not the trailing stop, but the static fixed stop loss. So reduce that, see if it makes any difference to the drawdown, and then we need to reduce that, and we'll probably do 6 to 5 to 4 to 3, and it may be that 3 is going to be okay, and we'll just see how we go. So what I need to do is come to the inputs, make sure we've got 500 pips for the stop loss, and we've got a trailing stop in, so that's going to kick in, okay? And that's the only thing I need to do. So inputs 500. That hard take profit doesn't get realized because we got a trailing stop in, but it will trigger if we really pump. Okay, so that being said, and there is an option on the bot, this 2.2 bot, is everything called equity protection. Now the idea is that if we do hit a 10% loss to account, it will then suspend trading, which is a great idea in principle, but you'll see from this graph that we actually hit that 10% threshold, and it would have meant a 10% loss to account, but we can look at the graph. It did result in a profit. However, you know, it would have got us out at a loss. Now, the thing is, it's the thing that would have been quite troublesome is that we would hit it would have suspended trading, and you would have thought, oh, okay, all right, I'll put the terminal back on, because the way that you get the trades running again is that after suspension of the trades, you simply restart the terminal, and you would have restarted the terminal, and it would have chopped, and then we had this, and we come back down. So there's your 10% loss. Yeah, nearly. Yeah, if we start at 3,000, our balance here that would have been 10%. So we hit 10% loss here, another 10% loss. So you would have re-enabled your desktop, your terminal, and it would have stopped you out again at 10%. So you would have 10% loss here and a 10% loss there, 20% loss. And so the equity protection is a phenomenal idea in principle, but in this example, it was a bad thing. It would have been like a bad function to have, because we can see it would have resulted in profit. But fantastic idea. But in this case, it would have hampered our profits really badly. It would have got us out a loss, substantial loss, and another substantial loss. And then you may have enabled your terminal back then. If you did, that would have been okay, and you would have recouped your losses. But you may, after that loss and then that loss, you might just say, oh, I'll give up. Because, you know, we're talking, you know, this is like, if this is live funds, you would have been a bit distressed and disheartened, and you're probably thinking, oh, this isn't for me, and things like that. But you can see, if you would have reactivated your terminal, you would have made a nice return. So let's have a look at the inputs, just make sure it's 500. So remember, the last test is at 600, 5288. I've got a feeling it's going to be similar to that closing balance. Okay, so that's the setting, 500, and we'll just see how we go. And come to the graph, and then we can see. And so remember, a 3K starting balance. Okay, and this is with tighter stops of 500 pips. And so far so good. It's really, really good right now, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to start triggering bad trades. There you go. It's not so bad. Anything above 3,000 is good. So that's our starting balance. And these green spikes, in case you're wondering, they're unrealized gains. So we could have profited there, but it just price fell, and then we didn't quite capture it. So those green spikes could have been better absorbed by the logic. So we're in that 10%. So I think whatever happens for their stop loss is going to result in a drawdown. So we have to reduce the amount of trades. I think this is like a requirement for the bot, is that we can't have like a 10% move, even though we do really pump. So that's what I'll do. So that will be the testing for this week, is to whittle down the amount of concurrent trades from 7 to 6, and then 6 to 5. And it might even be, we'll come down to 2. And but at least we won't have that horrible drawdown. But look at the profit though. So it's very tricky. Yeah, so we've made 1,000 pips now. So if you started with a 3,000 balance, you would have made $1,000 there, although you would have had that drawdown. Quite significant drawdown, to be fair. It's not bad, is it? So let's see what happens. Got 2 more minutes left of the video. And then what I'll do is I'll just simply, wrap up the video, and you can see how we go. So the question is really, should we be worried about that? I think we need to be. However, we can see from the back tests is that we're actually profitable. So it might just need like a disclaimer where we're going to have, we are going to have some drawdown on it. Wow, huge pump. So now remember, we start at 3K balance. It's made 1,760 profit at that spike. A lot of these spikes are news related economic data. You'll probably find if you hovered over the date, probably find CPI, PAL speech, we've got NFP, and then CPI. So we've got another minute to go. So you can see how it's doing well, but do we want that drawdown? I mean, I guess we could just carry on testing, forward testing with the current settings, with the caveat that we're going to have a 10% loss to account, which is not great. And it might be that I'm going to change that to 20%. And but at least it prevents the account from blowing up. I think that's probably a thing that we could do. We'll have it at 20% and they'll suspend trading. The other thing in the logic, double click, let me, when it hits 20% or whatever setting we've decided, we know that 10% did get hit and it was bad if we got out at that point. One option is to suspend all trading. Second option is to close all trades. And the third option is to close all the losing trades. But so that's something that we need to test. So I think that may be optimal because we see that we hit 10%, but we pumped. 20% would have been fine. So that may be the setting that will go for demo testing when I release this bot. Wow, okay, so let's click OK. 5757. We're not interested in the equity, we want to look at the balance. Okay, 5757. Come back down. Oh, that's huge. So it did make a big difference. Oh my gosh. Just by reducing the stop loss. We really pumped. That is right, isn't it? Okay, so this is what I'm going to be doing the rest of the week. 5757. We started at 3k and we ended up at that. With a tighter stop, that really helped. really helped. Alright, so what I'll do, I'll close the video now. And so you can see what's going on in the background, and then if you're interested, you can just click Patreon and then just subscribe, and then you get access to the spot. It's not ready for demo testing or anything like that because I'm still testing those settings. But I think an equity protection of 20% sounds good, and it looks like reducing the stop loss is really nice for the profit and the return. So the next test I will do is reduce that to 400, and then I think what we might do that should hopefully help with the drawdown. And so that's just a quick video on the 2.0 logic, but really we can call it a 2.1, I suppose now. We can call it a 2.1 because we've got the equity protection in, and that's a big development. And I think 20% is probably going to be fine, I think. So there's today's video, and I wish you a great weekend. I'll speak to you guys soon.